beginning of 2021, my friends and I set guiding words meant to describe the life we were working towards throughout this past year. Mine were energy and abundance. Around the same time, I set a New Year's resolution for myself to stop dating for an entire year. I've been single for my entire life, and being alone is always something that I've celebrated, but I'd been dating around for several years, looking for love in seemingly all the wrong places, offering so many men the gift of myself and being greeted with dishonesty and disrespect in return. I needed a break from heartbreak, to heal from past hurt, to reconnect with myself, my femininity, and recenter myself in terms of what I want, what I need, and what I deserve. I could feel myself losing the part of me that loves love. The relentless optimist, the hopeless romantic, I could feel myself losing her. I could feel myself starting to believe that I was unlovable, like I was doomed to continue loving men who act indifferent to me when I'm not seducing them. I've always felt clear on what it was that I deserved. I've always demanded the best for myself and refused to settle for anything less, but the pain I was carrying with me from previous disappointments was crushing the strength in me to keep searching for it. So I gave myself a break. I wanted to see what I could accomplish, who I could become, if I gave all of my love to myself instead, with no distractions. Just me, myself, and my healing. This is the story of what happened.
Cheers to making it to the very end of my emotionally unavailable until 2022 series. What the fuck? So at the beginning of this year, I set guiding words for myself with some friends of mine. And the words that I chose for my year were energy and abundance. Shortly after I set those words, I said this: how much more can I accomplish for myself in my own life when I don't have any other distractions, when I'm giving 100% of my love to myself, and also when I reroute my dreaminess to solely me, my personal endeavors, things that make me happy, sort of like just loving on myself for a little bit. What happens? So I wanted to reflect on sort of everything I went through emotionally this year, as well as reflect on some of what I have accomplished this year and what actually happened when I gave all of my attention to myself. Because a lot fucking did. I rewatched the first video that I made, the I'm emotionally unavailable until 2022. I rewatched that video, and you can see in that video that I know where I want to be, but I don't really know how to vocalize it, and I definitely don't have any idea how to get there. Like, you can see it in me when you listen to me talk. I knew that I didn't deserve to be being treated how I was. I knew that I deserved more and that more was out there for me. But my reaction to that pain was to harden myself, to say, fuck it, whatever. I actually don't give a shit about any of this. This is so stupid. Fuck it, another person did this to me, whatever. Moving on is so much better than this. Rather than confronting the fact that, yes, I was someone that was totally aware that I deserved better than how I was being treated. But at the same time, I was incredibly hurt. And I was dealing with a lot of pain that I wouldn't even really acknowledge. I immediately hardened and put on this like tough girl, I don't give a fuck, whatever. Moving along, I'm over it, whatever, doesn't impact me persona, when that's not how I felt. And I've never been the type of person who has ever been able to be like, whatever, I don't care, moving on. Like that. Never. I've never been that person. But I think for a while I was pretending to be that person as sort of like a fake it till you make it sort of thing, because that was what I wanted. And I was jealous of the people who could go through these situationships, these momentary, connections, and then move on from it and be like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. I have cared about every single person that I have ever slept with or dated. I can't change that about myself. And I so badly wanted to be someone who could be like, fuck it, whatever, on to the next. But I'm just not that person. And I can see that in the first video. I can see that I know what I deserve and I know that something's wrong, but I don't know how to get it or what to change or what to work on. And I don't want to admit to myself that anything is that wrong at all. I think when I first started this, I wanted to position it more as like, what can I do? What can I accomplish if I just focus on me? But I think that the more prominent reason why I wanted to do this is because I knew deep down, and sort of on the surface as well, because I would vaguely talk about it, or I would talk about things in a way that still made me seem like I was this like strong bad bitch. I didn't want people to know that I was like deeply hurting and impacted by my dating life. It felt stupid. Like, why am I so bothered by all of this? I didn't want it to seem like I was as hurt as I was. And it's interesting to look back on after the year that I've had now, because I think that 2021 was such like an intensely healing year for me. And I feel a lot more in tune with myself and my emotions. And more than that, I feel a lot more accepting of the negative emotions that I feel, and I don't feel as like embarrassed or ashamed to share those parts of myself. I don't feel like I need to be my best self 24/7. I don't think that's reasonable, and it's also not who anyone is. I tried to shrink myself a lot to make myself into something more manageable for other people, something that is easier to consume. And I think this year I've just gotten better at accepting the parts of me that are too much and letting myself rock with those emotions and sitting in them rather than being like, fuck it, whatever, I don't care all the time, when I very clearly, deeply care. Looking back on the first video, this is what I see and know for sure. I was deeply hurt from my previous situationships / relationships with men growing up in general, which we'll talk about. I knew I deserved love and that love is out there for me, but I'm not actually sure how to enforce my boundaries and look out for myself before things get really bad. And I definitely value what the people I date think of me over what I think of them. I talk a lot in my first video, and I think in my second as well, about how I have a tendency to romanticize people's potential and fall in love with who I think they could be or who I want them to be. And I start to fall in love with people that I don't even like, not to quote Olivia Rodrigo. But I start to fall in love with people that I don't even like because I'm more fixated on, do they like me? Like, am I attractive to them? Do they want me? I'm more fixated on being desirable than actually checking in with myself and being like, do you actually like this person? Do they satisfy you emotionally? And not that I wasn't thinking about those things, because I was, but I just think that I was more concerned with whether or not I was being found desirable. And I say in the video that I don't want to date someone that I have to teach how to love me. I don't want a project. I don't want someone to take care of. I don't want to be teaching grown men how to communicate. I say that, but I'm not sure I meant that at the time. I thought I meant it. I wanted to mean it, but I don't think I was there yet. I think I knew that I still had a long way to go in terms of falling for people's potential. And I can sit there and say that I don't want a project. I want someone who's like ready for me. I don't want to have to sit and build someone into the person I want them to be. I want someone who's ready for me. I can sit there and say that, but if I'm still letting people into my life intimately like that because of potential, then I don't really mean that, do I? So that's how I feel now, looking back at that first video. I see a girl who like knows that she wants something different, but doesn't know how to vocalize what, and is just sort of lost and really hurt. So months go on. First few months of the year were really great for me. I felt like I was sort of in a routine of loving on myself. I was really just focused on making videos and working on my channel, which we'll talk more about all that stuff later, but March was really when my channel started to do well. We hit 50,000 subscribers in March. It was like the day before my birthday, I think, which is March 5th. Shout out to all my Pisces. Ooh, everything was going well. Life was going great for me. I decided that I wanted to live on my own at the end of my lease with my last roommate, and just started dreaming up my next apartment, this next chapter, living on my own. There was a lot of exciting things happening around me beginning of the year. So then that brings us to our second emotionally unavailable update video, which I posted in April, and it was called Why Chemistry Isn't Compatibility. So in April, I'm starting to have some reflections on when it is that I go off the deep end and really start indulging in someone's potential past the point of no return. When is that turning point from like, oh, we're going out on dates, I'm having fun getting to know this person, to like, you are now indulging in something that doesn't exist, and you are convincing yourself that you like someone when you don't like them. You like this dream version that's in your head. I talk in the video about how sometimes that initial chemistry with someone can be enough to convince me that they're gonna check my boxes, or that we could be good for each other. I have a tendency to date other creative people. I think a lot of creative people date other creatives. Naturally, that's what I'm drawn to. And naturally, I have a lot to talk about with other creative types. We have a lot in common off the bat. We can talk for hours and hours and hours. You know, I can sit at a cafe 7 fucking hours and talk to these people. And the thing is that initial chemistry is not hard to find. It's not hard to find people that you have common interests with and can have a good conversation with. I think especially when you are a confident, charismatic person, it's easy to have a good first date. Sometimes you have a good first date because you are a good conversationalist and not because this person is the love of your life. But sometimes that initial chemistry, I convince myself, and my brain is like, oh, this could be something, because maybe in, some universe it could. They could check all my boxes. I mean, fucking anyone could. But when you let your brain skip ahead and you start skipping steps and you're like, oh, is this something? We've got so much in common. We have great conversation. They're hot. I'm hot. Our lives could very easily be intertwined. Like, you can envision it. And because you can envision it, you're like, here it is. Here's the thing I wanted. Before even getting to the part where you figure out, like, emotionally, does this person give me what I need them to give me? Are we looking for the same things? Do I even like them? You have to like strike a balance between like, okay, you're enjoying yourself. You've been on a couple dates and they've gone really well, and you're allowed to be excited about that. And if you're a dreamy fucking person, of course you're going to sit there and be like, oh, I'll fucking dreamy about it. Like that part of my brain is never going to go away, right? I'm always going to be a very hopeless, romantic, dreamy, lovey person. And when I am enjoying someone's company, I'm gonna my brain will automatically do that. But there's a difference between like allowing yourself to be happy and enjoy where you're at, and allowing yourself to indulge in the potential of what things could become before they become it. You have to learn to enjoy all parts of the dating process, basically. Because if you only enjoy the very beginning and the end of actually being with someone, then you're going to try to rush through all of the parts in the middle, and that's the shit that matters. That's the part where you're figuring out if you actually fucking like someone. Are you guys actually good for each other? We cannot skip this part. I don't even like talking about this now because I'm like, fucking obviously. And you know what? I think that I was very quick to let myself fall into the, oh my God, is this it? Is it happening thing? Because for a lot of my life, I was very worried that nobody could love me, that I was unlovable. And I grew up being really panicked about not having a boyfriend before college and then not having a boyfriend before post grad. Like my whole life I have put time limits on everything, and I felt panicked if I couldn't meet it in time. Like I was panicked about not having a boyfriend before college because I was like, oh my God, I know nothing. And then I was panicked about not having a boyfriend in college because I was like, well, what the fuck? Everyone's ahead of me now. I've always been comparing myself to other people. And I think it's made it so that if I start dating someone and things are initially looking good, that initial chemistry is there, my brain goes, oh my God, is this it? Is it your turn now? This thing that you've been thinking about your whole life, is it finally here? Are you finally caught up? And I jump through the part that matters the most because I want to fit in. And like, this isn't something that you should want to fit in about, you know, like you should stay single until you find someone that's right for you. You shouldn't rush things or jump into things that are so or half what you want just to avoid being alone. And this is shit that I say all the time. I talk about this in all of my fucking videos, but it's like subconsciously I have been jumping in and letting potential run my life because I so badly want to get rid of this voice inside my head that's like, you're behind. There's something wrong with you. So then over the next few months, now we're at, May, June, July time. I hit 100,000 subscribers in May. I moved into my 1-bedroom apartment by myself. Life is continuing to go super fucking good. We're living the dream, baby. But come summer, I was really put to the test, and my New Year's resolution was challenged. And I didn't talk about this in the summer when I did my August update video because it was still super fresh, and I was like, I don't want to talk about it yet. I will admit now that there was a time during the summer where I almost quit my resolution. I almost abandoned this whole goddamn thing because I had a crush. Now make note that I didn't, but I almost did. So let's talk about it. It was someone that I had known before I made a commitment to do this whole thing. And there was a period of time in the summer where I thought to myself, like, damn, do I like him? Do I see something happening here? Maybe. Now, I never really even got a chance to figure out my answer to the question of whether or not I like him because things really ended before they ever even started with that one. I mean, good. Looking back, good. Talk a little bit about this in my third update video, but I had said to him, if you want to pursue me, if something is happening here, and I'm abandoning my fucking resolution, if this is gonna happen, I need a little bit more communication and consistency out of you in order to feel good about the people that I am intimate with. I said this. And this is something that he reacted well to in the moment, said he felt similarly, and then withdrew shortly after. Basically just saying that he could not show up for me like that, and he had too much going on, and now just wasn't the right time. Totally fair. So that brings me to my third update video, which was you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. The past version of myself would have been fucking terrified to ever set a boundary like that with a guy that I liked. At the time, I was reading Daring Greatly and Attached, and I was reflecting a lot on communication and consistency and what it is that I need from a partner in that regard. What do I need in a relationship to feel secure emotionally? What do I need from my partners to feel good in a relationship? And through answering that question, I was forced to confront my fear of being too much, too emotional, too sensitive. Because as I was listing out the things that I felt like I needed from a partner, I need someone to communicate with me openly. I need someone who says how they feel about me. I need someone who's consistent, who doesn't drop off the face of the earth for a week and then act like it never happened. I need someone who's invested in me in order to feel good about investing in them. Really baseline stuff. But as I was listing all of that out, I started to have a pit in my stomach thinking about actually saying any of that to a guy that I liked. And that's a problem. But that comes from the fact that I feel like a lot of people, particularly women, have been trained to believe that they are often too much in relationships, too emotional, too sensitive, like their requests for communication and attention in partnerships are unreasonable, when more often than not, it is a baseline of what you would need in order to experience actual intimacy with another person. And it felt like for the first time, I was reckoning with this idea of cool girl. And I was taking apart in my head this version of myself that I had created to be the most attractive to the men that I date. I pretend like I'm fine if they don't text back for 3 days. I pretend like I'm fine if they're impossible to pin down for plans. And I'm always the one trying to make them. And they say things like, oh, I'm just so busy fucking at work, doing this, doing that. And I accept that. I say, oh, yeah, they probably are. Even though I work 2 fucking jobs. And I still make time. Because that's the thing. If you want to, you make that time. And if you genuinely do not have the time, you're still emotionally present. You know? If you genuinely don't have the time, you don't leave the person you're talking to in the complete dark. Like, oh, I don't know. See you in fucking 3 weeks when I decide I'm bored enough to want to hang out with you. Like, if the person you're dating is actually busy, they'll still keep in touch with you throughout the week and let you know that they're thinking about you and are interested in pursuing you. You won't have to guess. When someone likes you, you won't be confused about it. I was trying to push myself into a smaller and smaller box. I was constantly trying to convince myself that I needed less than I actually did. I was trying to be this cool, effortless, totally easy girl to be with. I wanted it to feel effortless to love me. And the truth is, I am not that. I am not cool girl. It is not effortless to love me, and it fucking shouldn't be. I am not the girl who's gonna sit here and let you lead this relationship however you want. In order to be with me, I require a certain level of communication, consistency, and transparency. If you cannot give me that, you will not date me. If that is asking for too much, you can go and find less. And when I was confronted with this potential new crush, it all came at like the perfect fucking time, because it gave me the opportunity to set the boundaries that I had been thinking about and to actually practice in real time what it was that I was thinking about. I figured out what it was that I needed. I asked for that. I laid it all out on the table. And okay, cool. It turns out he doesn't have the capacity to give me what I need. Now I know. And that's where the whole you can't say the wrong thing to the right person comes around. Because if you're with the right person, saying to them, hey, I need a little bit more communication and consistency, it's only going to draw them closer. The right person is going to love that you brought that up. And by having this conversation, you're giving the wrong person the opportunity to say, hey, I am the wrong person. At first, I was like, fuck, I'm going to ruin my entire New Year's resolution for this guy. But instead, I was given an opportunity to learn and grow from all of it. So you know what? It's a good thing that it happened, because I felt like having that experience of actually having an opportunity to set my boundary and see it through was really good for me. And it's good that it happened this year while I'm not dating. And this is all just, a part of the learning process for me. It worked out fucking great, even though I thought at first that it was going to be a full-blown fucking train wreck. And I saw a tweet earlier today that says, I pray that you'll decline small love. I pray that you'll have the courage to say, this is not enough for me. And I can't agree more. That's exactly how I felt about myself this summer. So after that comes the fall. Now, that video in August was technically my last emotionally unavailable update. However, throughout the fall, if you were watching my vlogs, you know that I talked about some stuff that definitely relates to all of this. Particularly, I had a video in October called Crying About Everything That Didn't Happen, where the whole second half of that video is me talking about this, and I think it definitely connects here. In the video, if you didn't watch it, again, everything's going to be linked down below, but if you didn't watch it, in the video, I am talking about sort of grieving the visions that my younger self had for what dating was supposed to look like in your 20s. And that was a major part of this year. I think a major part of this year was grieving, mourning the ideas that I had for love growing up and how disappointed I am that it just doesn't look like that for me. A large part of this year was acknowledging the hurt that I was carrying with me from not experiencing innocent affection growing up, and acknowledging how actually hurt I was from growing up with no innocent affection and going straight into the deep end and only receiving sexual attention. Growing up, middle, high school, all of that, like, nobody was ever interested in me. No one ever had a crush on me. I wasn't asked to prom. I wasn't asked to any school dance ever. Nobody ever liked me. And that really bothered me as a kid. I always hoped that college would be different and that I'd leave my hometown and go to New York and everything would change for me. And so when I turned 18 and went to college, everything did change. In New York, a lot of people were interested in me. Not in the way I wanted them to be, though. And I felt like I was sort of tricked into this strictly sexual life that I had started living in college. I went from having no attention to only getting sexual attention, and I, until this year, had never fully acknowledged how deeply that hurt me. And I think as I started getting clearer on what it is that I want for myself now and for myself in the future, I had to take a minute and sort of reckon with the past versions of myself that I've been hanging on to and just sort of fucking feel sorry for myself for a second. I, looking back now, feel really sad for my 18-year-old self who just wanted to know that she was desirable. And if men were only interested in me for sexual reasons, then fine, I guess I'll play into that. And at the time, I always thought that, like, eventually they would want to be with me. Because I'm so cool. I'm awesome, right? Why wouldn't they want to be with me? I saw the life that friends and peers were living, the innocent affection that they got in high school and college, and I was always like, how come that doesn't happen to me? I just feel sorry for my 18-year-old self looking back at all of it, because I was so, like, bright-eyed and optimistic and so naive, and I was dating men from the ages of 22 to 29 that absolutely fucking knew better. But they didn't care. And they really fucking hurt me. And I never acknowledged how hurt I actually was. Again, I was pretending I didn't care. It's whatever, it's fine. Dating in New York. Crazy. Girl, you're fucking in pain. Talk about it. So I've spent a lot of time this year getting to know what it is that I want and deserve and need moving forward, yes. But I've also spent a lot of time grieving the versions of my past self that were disappointed, the visions of what I thought romance was supposed to be like in your 20s, and just feeling sad that I had to watch everyone else get what I wanted. And to this day, I still don't understand why I didn't get it too. Does my experience as a plus size person play a role here? Yes. I needed to allow myself space to feel sad that my experience is not the same as my friends. And I'm sad for my past self. I am. So, where are we now? End of the year. What are we doing? Where are we going? I've been recording this fucking video for so long. I feel really ready to give dating a shot again. I feel really excited. I feel really clear on not only what I deserve and want, but more importantly, what I need. And I think maybe that's the part that I was missing before. I feel like more than anything, I'm excited to get back into dating because I'm excited to show up for myself and to feel challenged and to be vulnerable. I'm excited to get to be in a position where I have to say what I want again, even if they don't want it to. I'm excited to just get to exercise that part of my brain in a romantic context. I've journaled so much. I've written down a ton of questions to ask myself when I am dating again. Like I'm in it, baby. I'm fucking excited for it. I feel like I have just gone through such an intense healing journey this year that obviously is going to continue. You don't just like heal for a year and then you're cool. But I'm excited to get to date while I continue this journey and get to do more of like actually exercising what it is that I'm thinking about and reflecting on. And I feel ready to do that now. I don't think I could have done that before. Like, I think I needed to take the time to really be alone and sit and reflect and heal. And I'm happy that I took the time to be alone because I don't think that any of this year would have happened if I didn't. So let's talk about that, right? Because in the video, I talk about how I just want to see what would happen if I gave all of my love and attention to myself, which is fucking hilarious. 2021 has been fucking unreal. Like I said, I feel like I underwent such a massive growth emotionally for me, which was amazing. And let's talk about the biggest thing that happened this year. YouTube became my career, which I can't even fucking believe that's real. The fuck? Why am I crying? I started making YouTube videos when I was 13 years old, and my whole life it's been my favorite thing to do. I was bullied relentlessly for it growing up. I have been introduced as Maddie the YouTuber to every group of people that I have ever met. Ever since I started doing this, it's all I wanted to do. I used to come home from school in middle school, and I at the time collab channels were such a thing, and I was a part of like fucking 4 of them. And I used to come home and, you know, I'd have a designated day to do the collab channel videos, and I was making like 4 or 5 videos a week. It's all I wanted to do. I was the type of kid who felt anxious not checking my emails by age 13 because I wanted to see how many new subscribers I got and what people were commenting on my videos. Like, it's all I've ever cared about. It's one of the only things that has stayed constant about me my entire life. And when I said my guiding words were energy and abundance, okay, bitch. You listened. And I'm sure a lot of you know this, but for those of you that don't know, YouTube was not my full-time career throughout this year. It was a side gig that I did on nights and weekends. And my full-time job was working on the social content team for Hero Cosmetics. Ever heard of the Mighty Patch pimple patches? That's Hero. And that's the company that I worked for the last year and 8 months or something. I quit my job. My last day at work was a few days ago, and I'm officially a full-time YouTuber, which is fucking crazy. I will be saying thank you to you guys for like the next 40 years, okay? Because you did this. I want to end this off with an affirmation that I love, which is, the love I am looking for is also looking for me. And that's one that I've loved over the last year. Don't be afraid to find out that you met the wrong person, because the right person is out there looking for you. And if this isn't it, you got to get back out there and keep looking for them. So that's it for this video. I'm letting you guys know now that I'm taking a few weeks off of posting videos to relax and reset. And I will see you guys mid-January. Don't know the exact day yet. And we're going to go on a full swing, baby. We're doing this shit full time. Podcast is for sure coming back. So many of you have asked me about that. Now that this is my full-time job, podcast is definitely coming back at some point. It's going to take me a little while to get back into it because I want to do a full reset of everything, but it'll happen this year. We're going to do so much fun stuff. I'm so excited to continue making content for you guys full fucking time, baby. It's going to be such a fucking incredible year. I love you guys so much. If you miss me while I'm taking a few weeks off, go follow me on Instagram because I'm sure I'll be posting some stuff on there. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.